Hey everybody, this is Red Specs Gaming and welcome back to Minecraft Eternal. Well, the day is finally upon us, folks. Everything is in place and ready to go. We're building the power generation today. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Okay, so I said everything was ready. I lied. Got one more thing to build and then we're going down, but this will be a quick one. What we need is actually some power cells, and these are amazing. These were pointed out by a friend of mine on stream. They're from RF Tools. These basically give you remote power, so you hook this up as one side and then another one as another side, and you can send power across distance without having to wire everything up. So that's what we're going to do. The power station's going to create the power and it's going to send it back up here. So we need two of these. That's diamond, emerald, some prismarine, some blocks of redstone, and a machine frame. Machine frame is easy enough. That just uses some lapis or any blue dye and all of that. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3 of these because we're going to make, hopefully we have everything we need. 1, 2, we only have 2 of these. Okay, so we don't have the diamond for that. I wonder if we can buy, or an emerald. I wonder if we can buy an emerald. Let's look real quick. Can we buy an emerald from the shop? Let's see. Emerald. No. Haha. Okay, so we're going to have to get another emerald. Have to go do some trading probably to get that. But we can live with 2 for now. Two we can do. And then we need these. These are the power cards, and these kind of say which one of these cells will be linked to which other cell. So we're going to go ahead and make 2 of those too. 1, 2. All right. And now we've got everything else here in this bag. Right? Right? All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by hooking one of these. I don't know why I put that away. One of these up in here. We're just going to hook it right in to our generator. Okay. Boom. Right? And then when we go into this, you take the power cell card, and this is a little tricky. To get a link on the power cell card, you would put them here. I'm sorry, you put them here. Yeah, so now they both got link ID 1. If you need to link them, you put it there, or I'm sorry, you put it there, it unlinks it. So now this is no longer linked to this card, right? And so we would have to unlink that one too. And now if we put them back here, they'll get a link again. So we pull them out, they should have link 2 now. And I think it just counts up like that. So that's how you're going to do this. So we're going to leave one here. He's still linked 2. As long as it's got a link, that's what will happen. And then we're going to tell this guy in, okay? So that he's accepting energy. And then we're going to get some blocks of coal out of the network real quick. Where's my network guy? Boom, boom. We're going to take that. Coal. Boop, boop. We'll go ahead and take a 21 stack of coal. Because soon after we have power handled, we're no longer going to have any problems with getting power. And we stick that guy right there. And he's going to start burning. And you'll see he'll store inside this guy here. So just to be sure, I'm going to remove insert on all of these. Just to make sure none of them are stealing power. Because I want it all to go into this power cell. Right? And so he should start building up power like crazy. Same thing with that guy. You're no longer getting power. This guy is no longer getting power. Take insert off of all of these. So the only place that power should be going then is into this. And this will build up all of our power. And it'll store it too, so it won't be lost power. Now we can head down into the underwater. And we can start building this bad boy. So I'll see you guys down there. And there she is. She's a thing of beauty, my Canola Farm. Produces quite a bit of power too. So originally I'd recorded a really long build session of me explaining each step along the way as I built it. But that turned out to be very long, like 3 episodes length long. And it turned out to be super boring when I was watching it back. Because I had to correct a lot of things as I go. And so it's a lot of stops and starts. And just, it was not good entertainment to watch. So instead, what I decided to do is just to kind of go through it now, show you what each piece does, and explain it as I go. Since it's working, that'll cut down the amount of time that that this guy will take. And I also made some corrections to some things to improve it. It was quite laggy when I got done. Like my frames dropped. My frames aren't great anyways. They never really are. Like you can see up there, I'm looking at 25, 21 frames right now. When we leave this area, it won't be so bad. And something about being down under the water, for some reason, we get this mist too, this fogginess, which isn't great. But let's start back here. So when we last left off, I built these 10-10-10 canola plants and grew them. I read something about more sprinklers, how they stack their fertilizing effect. So I put 3 sprinklers up above there. You can see there's 3 of those guys. They're connected through a channel, and then an Agricraft sprinkler, and they rain down on this and speed this up quite a bit. It keeps it going, like there's almost no stop to this guy running. And you have lots of light. Make sure you have lots of light because it helps. We put our plant gatherer here, and remember we put inside that plant gatherer, we put a range add-on. You can see it's full of sludge. Sludge doesn't matter. We can pipe that out later if we need to. And he's getting power directly from the system right now, which I'll show you in a second. Remember, with the range add-on, if we do the show the working area, you can see it's covering, with one range add-on, it's covering the whole farm. So we're good there. And so he'll pick up any plants as they grow to full adult. He'll pick up the canola, and he'll pick up the canola seeds. And what he does is he pipes them with item conduits upwards and into these 2 storage drawers. And I've placed one upgrade, one emerald upgrade, and a void upgrade. You can see up in the corner right there, it's a little symbol there. That's the void upgrade, which means that these can hold up to 1024 stacks of seeds and canola, which is on the other side here. I'll show you there. But they're never gonna get that high. But that's just a precaution, just in case the thing backs up completely. Like we've got more fuel than we can use, and it's just not running or whatever. It might back up, but we'll probably use the fuel as quick as we get it. I don't know. We'll see. But that's just always, anytime you're doing something automatic, I recommend having some kind of something on there that it'll throw away after a certain point. So in this case, 1024 is the stack limit. When it hits that, it just starts throwing into the void anything that's left over. Something to be cautious of. Don't be careful when you're, well, do be careful when you go near your plants. You don't want to accidentally climb the wall with your climbing gloves and then fall on it, because then you break the plant and you have to replant it. It's a real pain in the butt. Alright, so what happens then is, I'm going to go around this other side. We're collecting the canola and the canola seeds, and we're putting them into those containers. And so what happens now is we get to this part here. Yeah, you can see the frames are kind of rough right here. You get to this part here, and we have canola presses 1, 2, and 3. And they're hooked up via those item conduits. Boom, 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 boom. And they take the seeds out of the box, and if we look at them, where is that? What am I looking for? Hold on a second. These are running on the green channel, okay? So these are inserting on the green channel. So when you have multiple, by the way, when you have multiple conduits hooked up, you'll have tabs over here. So this is for the items, this is for the power. So you can just switch between them. We've changed this to the green channel, and the reason we've done that, so that the extract from this, which is coming out of here, this is the extract for the canola itself. He's running on the green channel, and he's got round robin enabled. You click that enables round robin. What that's going to do then is, as it's extracting, it's going to put one here, then one here, then one here, and then go back one. And the reason we chose the green channels, because that's the first channel. We don't want these conduits can be hooked up together all over the place, and I don't want anything but canola, pure canola, not the seeds, to go into these canola presses. And then you'll also see we have power running to them as well, to the tops of them. This is the power cell that we made, right? So he is supplying power to the whole system, and he's remotely getting it from this power cell over here, which is like this is the source of all our power now. This guy right here, which we'll get to that in a second. When I first came down here, I had to run power from up in the base remotely to this, and that would run this whole thing. And then once I got that in, I just removed the one that was up in the base, brought it down here, and so he's now the source of all power. And so what these presses do is they take the canola. When they get canola in them, you can see there's none in there right now, but it will get there. It presses it and it makes oil out of it. And then what happens is you hook these. That's by the way, that canola oil, you can burn that canola oil. That's called stage 1 canola oil, and you'll get some fuel from it. It's one way to go. But you get more fuel, or you get more power from stage 4, which this empowered oil. We'll get into that. So this guy then, he takes that canola, he crushes it, he turns it into oil, and then you can burn that. Or you can add these, and you can see I have on both sides of them, here and here. These are called those fermenting barrels we made. And the way it works is if they're touching the canola press, then they will just automatically pull the oil out of the press, so you don't have to actually run any pipes for that. So then the canola oil goes into these guys, and then this, over time, it's not a lot of time actually, it's just a very little amount of time, will in turn turn that into fermented oil, or I think it's called refined canola oil. It's not fermented, refined canola oil. That is stage 2 oil, and if you burn that, you actually get more fuel than you get from stage 1. But we're not happy with stage 2. We want to get to this happy stuff here. So what we do then is we run. See, these are fluid conduits. Come out the top of it. They run together, both sides, and then they come over here to this system over here. And so our stage 2, we're pumping over this way. And you'll notice with fluid conduits, you tend not to have a lot of crossover of different systems because they don't have any kind of filter system on them. There's no way to set a channel or anything like that. And then what'll happen is you don't want fluids mixing in pipes, and it gets ugly. Your Yeta wrench, which I'm not sure if we made the Yeta wrench in that first run that I'm throwing away, or if we made it on a different video, but just in case, your Yeta wrench, you want to make one of these, and it's electrical steel. I'm sure I probably have this in a separate. You probably have already seen this, but just in case, that's how you make it. And then use that to connect pipes together. You'll notice you put fuel, like all of these I put down, and they wouldn't connect, and it's because they immediately started pulling that refined canola oil out. And then this one doesn't know what's in this one, so he doesn't connect automatically. He's like, I don't know, oil and vinegar, what's going on? So then you use your Yeta wrench, click on that, they connect up then. You're telling it, yes, I know these are the same thing. And so they go together, and then they get pumped over here to this fluid placer. Now, the way you go from stage 2 to stage 3 is you have to add a specialized canola seed to that oil. So before we do this piece here, we're going to go over here. Then we get into this piece over here. And what's happening here is from the seed box. Remember, canola goes in there, but the seeds go in here. From the seed box, I'm running a line, an item conduit, and it comes over and it goes down into one of those precision droppers. So this precision dropper is set up over the top of this, right? And then this pad here, this pressure plate, this precision dropper only goes when it's deactivated, when it gets a deactivation, which means that as long as it's getting, if it's getting a pulse, it doesn't go. This guy, though, he's on pulse. So the way it'll work is anytime, if we look in this, there's nothing in here, but when we get a seed, it will go up in here. It'll go into this guy, and then he'll drop it automatically onto this pressure plate, which sends a pulse. That pulse then triggers this atomic reconstructor, which is just like the one we have in the house. It shoots a little laser, pew pew. That will go pew pew into that, turn that seed into what's called a crystallized canola seed. Okay? So he shuts off because he's on deactivation. That pulse, when he drops it, it creates a redstone signal, so he shuts off. So he only drops one at a time. And as soon as that seed is no longer there and that pressure plate goes up, he'll drop the next one. And then when he drops the next one, the pressure plate goes back down. He shuts off. He turns on because he's on pulse. He pew-pews that seed, turns into another crystallized canola seed. And that's how that works together. These both have power. Well, he doesn't have power, I'm sorry. This guy has power, so you gotta power him up. You notice he's got crystal flux there. What happens to the seeds, though? Because how do we get them back off the ground? Well, this is that vacuum chest we made. And he is set with a filter. If you look at his filter here, let's click on his filter settings. We had to add this. This is an item filter. It's an item that is a basic item filter. So we added it to this, then you click on the settings, and we put one of these crystallized canola seeds here to say, hey, you only ever pick these up. And then we set its range down to 1 because it only needs to be right around here. So anytime that seed drops down, gets pew-pewed, becomes a crystallized canola seed, he goes, oh, I know what that is, and he sucks him up, this vacuum chest. And then he puts him back out through here and puts him into another storage drawer. And so, same thing here with the upgrades. 1024, throw away anything else. And so, that's how we get the seed to become a crystallized seed. From there, we get back to this system. And what happens here is that seed is then sent down this pipe, and it goes into this guy, which is another one of those droppers, except this one is aimed upwards, precision dropper. And then what happens is, based on some logic here, which I'll explain, he shoots that seed. Oh, see, just like that. Dang, you get too close. Got to be careful. If you get too close, you vacuum up stuff. Let's see if we can go up a little bit. We'll stay back and maybe you can see it happen here. What happens is that canola comes over to this guy. See, it just happened right there. View. This is a fluid placer, okay? And this guy is set to deactivation. So basically, anytime he gets fluid, a bucket's worth of fluid in him, he's going to spit it out into the world, into this space right here. As soon as he does that, this is one of those scanners. And this scanner, if you look at him, right-click on him, he's set to look for crystallized canola. So we're actually interested in the one on the other side. What you can do is put fluid in there, open up the scanner, and hit the button that says set to current block. And so he's looking for refined canola. So anytime this guy gets refined canola in front of him, he sends a redstone signal. That signal then goes down to, and this is one of the things I had to change after I did the recording because the other things were just so laggy. We were using what was called a sequencer, but this is actually a logic gate. And if you look at logic gates, they're not really hard to make. Let's see, logic gate. It's just a bunch of redstone comparators, redstone, and one of these machine bases, which we've seen. That's just stone and gold. All right, and what this logic gate does is he says, I'm going to send a signal out this side based on what I'm getting from the other three sides. So because this guy sees canola, he sends a redstone signal down this redstone, what do they call it again? Conduit. Redstone conduit. And you see I've got some lamps on here so I can watch when stuff happens. I want to know when the signals happen. So it goes into this logic gate. And what I've got set in this logic gate is simple. Everything is set to keep, which means just don't do nothing when you see this situation. So in the sides of this logic gate, there's three sides, A, B, and C. And then you get the orange out. And so what we're saying here is what happens when I get a signal, no signals on A, B, or C. In this case, I'm telling it, send a signal. On. Go on. What about when it's just the C? I'm just, don't do nothing. Keep it like it is. What about if we only get B? Well, then turn it off. And what that does then is basically I'm saying turn off the signal when we have what we need. But when we don't have what we need, turn on the signal. And the reason we're doing that is because this guy is set to deactivation. So if he's getting a signal, he does nothing. If he's not getting a signal, then he spits out seeds. And so that then turns the logic. It's sticking for a second here. 1 second. Let it catch up. Come on, game. There we go. That sends the signal back out this side and will cause that guy to spit a seed out. So basically, anytime canola goes in here, he sends a redstone signal to this guy. This guy then flips on or flips off his signal, and then this guy spits a seed. But when there's no canola oil in front of him, or it's refined canola, just be clear, refined canola coming up that pipe. When there's none of that, he's sending a signal that keeps him from doing anything. Okay? And then on the other side, we have kind of a similar situation. This scanner looks for crystallized oil. And so when he plops out the refined canola and he sends the seed up, it turns into crystallized canola. That's when this guy goes, oh, I see crystallized canola, send a redstone signal, which got the same setup here. All of these are going to be the same. You're on when nothing's happening. You're off when just something's coming in B. We're not actually using A or C in any of these cases, which is why most of these are just keep. It then sends a redstone signal, or it turns off the redstone signal, which then causes this guy who's set to deactivation to pick up the crystallized canola oil. And then that gets pulled into this tank here. And then no longer any oil in there, so then he gets he sees that there's no oil, so he stops sending a signal, which causes this to send a signal, which then causes this to stop trying to pick up anything. And when that happens, there's nothing in there, so then the other guy can start over again. This guy can now put canola oil in, he can send a seed up, and it's just a big cycle that runs around like that. Bam, 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 bam. So that is how we turn stage 2 oil, which is the refined oil, and regular old seeds into crystallized seeds and crystallized oil. And then that comes into here. Alright, now from here, we got to go from stage 3 to stage 4, which requires another step. And I'll be right back for that. Okay, so now getting from stage 3 to stage 4 oil requires that we use this empowerer that we had built. And the way the empowerer works is you put the empowerer in the middle, you skip 2 blocks, and then you put a display stand on all 4 sides, all the cardinal directions here. And then what you have to do is you run power to the display stands. You don't need power in the center, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's just the display stands because he doesn't have, you notice he has no crystal flux where these do. But either way, you run power, I'm going through the center of this anyways because I'm just running power directly up from that power block there. Boop, 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 boop. You just run those out to these guys, and then I'm also running item conduits because what we're doing is we're dropping regular canola seeds on the display stands, and then we're dropping the item conduit in the middle here drops a crystallized canola seed. That guy drops him in the middle, and then what happens, you'll see here the next time I have 4 canola, it should take just a second, we'll get it here in a second, is the empower system basically takes these items that are on the site here. Here we go. There, just happened. It takes the items that are out here and they uses them to empower what's in the middle. And so we go from crystallized canola seed, we give it the power of 4 more canola seeds, and it becomes what's called empowered canola seed, which we then pipe back up into this drawer here. Now, something to be aware of the way we've set this up. If we look at these guys, and if you look at their insert, they're not extracting, they're just inserting. I used a basic item filter, and I put regular canola seeds here. And I ran this on the purple line. You don't have to use the colored channels. I like to run the colored channels just to kind of get an idea of what's going where. And for me, like, purple is like the seed channel. And then this one in the middle is special because he's inserting on the purple line. And he is inserting crystallized canola seeds, so that's the filter I have set up here, but he's actually extracting on the cyan channel, and that's always active, and I've got a filter on that, and we're only extracting empowered canola seeds. And the reason that we had to do the filter specifically here is if we had extract and we didn't tell it that, he would pick up that crystallized canola the second he'd put it down. He would extract it right after inserting it. So we tell him only bring in the crystallized and only send out the empowered. And then that's obviously going into this box here, which it's then storing off those, though we're using it quicker than we can store. But this is another one of those storage drawers that's got the upgrade on it. It can store up to 1024. This is, eventually we're going to start backing up here because you can see my final tank here. This is the final tank. It's called empowered oil. It's already full. So eventually the system might back up. And then what'll happen is then we'll start storing into these and throwing away anything else. So now that we have an empowered seed, we've turned our crystallized seed into an empowered seed, we run it over to another system like on the other side. Same fluid type system. That is, yeah, see this has got empowered oil here, but it can't do anything because it can't, that's full. This guy, we pipe the crystallized oil straight across, and we drop it into a fluid placer. He puts it out into the world. He's on deactivation. He has no logic running to him, so he just immediately drops the oil that he gets when there's a space in front of him to drop it. And then we have another scanner that scans for that crystallized canola oil. When it sees it, it triggers the same logic gate system that we had on the other side, which causes the placer on the bottom, the what do they call it again? The automatic precision dropper. It causes him, he's set to deactivation as well. It causes him to spit up a seed, turns that crystallized canola into empowered canola oil, and then this guy, when that's there, the other scanner scans. When he sees it, actually it's this one, when he sees it, he triggers that logic, and then he picks it up. And then it's piped out into this tank here. So this is exactly the same on that side as it is on this side, except this does crystallize to empowered, whereas that does refine to crystallize on the other side. And then we're just filling these up. These are open block tanks, by the way, the same thing we used for our creosote oil out of our Coke machine or Coke furnace. And then what we do is we come over here and we use oil generators. And I've got 6 of these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We pipe the empowered canola into these guys, and then they burn that. And you can see they're full of crystal flux. Everything's full right now. So we get all that crystal flux built up, and we send it out into this guy, this energy cell here. And he stores, what is that? Is that 2 million? 2 million RF. And then he is the new source of all our power. We have, his link is link 7 right now. So this guy up here, he's now on link 7 as well. And he's outputting all the power for the farm. And he's inputting all the power from the farm. And so basically the system will run forever now on its own. We won't have to mess with it. Probably don't even need to come down here anymore. And he will, I mean, we might. Sometimes things get a little funky. Once in a while, even the best laid plans mess up. Let's real quick do an F7. Make sure that there's no red X's anywhere, because the last thing you want is a creeper down in here. Oh my lord. That would be the worst thing to ever happen. And I was trying to get this all textured, but those fish, those spiky fish were messing with me. Plus this is really deep, so yeah, we'll come back and do that afterwards. We'll have the squid pet soon. So yeah, this is my power system now, and this is what we will be using going forward. We may have to change it later on. We may not. I'm not sure. But now that we have power handled, we can get into some cool stuff. So I'll see you guys back at the top. So there you have it, folks. Full on automatic power. Yeah, it was fun to build this. Definitely a challenge over than just making something in your crafting bench and then using that. But definitely something I recommend that you try, if not just for the experience of trying to get it all put together. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button down below, and want to see more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We'll try to do more videos like this for you here coming up. Looks like I'll be working from home for a while due to the current situation with the virus pandemic. So hopefully I'll be able to get more videos out during these next couple of weeks, since I'll be at home and I don't have to spend that time driving to work and preparing all my meals before work and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. But anyways, you guys all stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.